Family, the track we're about to interact with right now was brought to my attention via a donation from one of our subscribers. Now, if you want to recommend a song, the link to the PayPal is going to be in the description below because, of course, YouTube yanks 30% of super chats. Guys, I appreciate, as always, your open, curious attention. Back to the video.
Hey, Jeff, this is your mother. I was just calling to see how you were doing. You sounded really uptight last night, made me a little nervous. Hey, Jeff, this is your mother. I was just calling to see how you were doing. You sounded really uptight last night, made me a little nervous. I just want to make sure you are really okay, and you want to see if you were checking in on your medication too. You know, I love you. See ya. Bye-bye.
I have to block out thoughts of you so I don't lose my head. They're crawling like a cockroach, leaving babies in my bed.
Ooh.
Dropping little reels of tape to remind me that I'm alone. Playing movies in my head that make a porno feel like home.
Yo, these are lines from a deeply tortured mind. I mean, the first thing that he talked about is like, thoughts of you are like cockroaches leaving babies in my bed. Like I'm tormented by the things you say or how you are. And then he says, you know, playing movies in my head that make a porno feel like home, which, you know, to me just means, you know, the most graphic thing that the average person imagines to him is just like, you know, Mr. Rogers or something, you know, compared to like the demons that are kind of crawling through his mind. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Please continue to cook.
Little reels of tape to remind me that I'm alone. Playing movies in my head that make a porno feel like home.
Damn.
There's a burning in my pride and a nervous bleeding in my brain. An ounce of peace is all I want for you. Will you never call again? And will you never say that you loved me just to put it in my face? And will you never try to reach me? It is I that want to space. Hate me today. Hate me tomorrow. Hate me so you can finally see what's good for you.
That's one of the goated choruses. You know what? Hang on just 1 second, family. Just hang on. Hold on. 16 years ago, I should have known, right? What happened to choruses like this that really stick in your mind and haunt you and just kind of get you at the gut level? That hate me today, right? It's like, why would you ask someone who loves you to hate you? It reminds me of radical non-retaliation. The book of Psalms, and also in the book of Romans, the Apostle Paul says, give your enemy a drink. Give your enemy food when they're hungry. It will be like hot coals on their head, right? Because there's something very painful about being the recipient of a gift that you know you don't deserve, right? And so he's saying, please make your behavior toward me consistent with how I feel about myself and how I've treated you, right? That's the only thing which can, you know, it's like knowing that you're hurting people who love you, or that you're a part of a greater whole, even though you're acting like this separate, you know, self-absorbed, isolated thing. What a beautiful and haunting way to say that.
Hate me so you can finally see what's good for you. I'm sober now for 3 whole months. It's one accomplishment that you helped me with. The one thing that always tore us apart is the one thing I won't touch again.
Family, for those of you who struggled or who struggle with sobriety, right? He says 3 whole months, right? Almost like every day of those 3 months was an accomplishment. For those of us who've never been through it, who've never, you know, been addicted to a substance, it's you know, 3 months just, you know, it flies by. It's like, you know, 3 months. What's 3 months? But for somebody who has a dependency, a chemical dependency, it's like 3 days must seem like a lifetime. A shout out to everybody who's struggling with it or who's maintained sobriety.
One thing that always tore us apart is the one thing I won't touch again. In my sick way, I wanna thank you for holding my head up late at night. While I was busy waging wars on myself, you were trying to stop the fight. You never doubt.
See, when I was busy waging wars on myself, you were there to stop the fight. And you know, when somebody's in the middle of a war and trying to stop it but they're bound to catch some strays, right? And he's saying like, look, you caught bullets, you know, in the midst of this internal struggle, right? You were affected. You have PTSD from a war you weren't even in. And so it's painful to still be loved by that person who's carrying the wounds of the injuries that you put on them, right?
Waging wars on myself, you were trying to stop the fight.
Wow.
You never doubted my warped opinions on things like suicidal hate. You made me compliment myself when it was way too hard to take. So I'll drive so far away that I never cross your mind, and do whatever it takes in your heart to leave me behind. Hate me today.
I just, one more thing. He said, you never doubted my warped opinions, right? And there's a subtle wisdom in that, because a lot of us like to think, okay, you know, when people who are depressed and are struggling, you know, when they're talking about how dark and everything is and their suicidal hate, right? We should immediately contradict them. We should tell them, no, the world isn't really like, you know, it's this and this. No, you shouldn't necessarily take on the air of a combatant, right? Open, curious attention is the currency of love. And he's saying, look, you were just right. In all of these areas, you gave me the thing that I needed. And that is the hot coal on my head. That's the thing that I can't take, that you're so consistently there for me. And look, maybe I'm overthinking it. Let me know in the comments below. Is he talking about enabling behavior? Is he saying like, look, the reason I want you to hate me is so that I can finally hit rock bottom, so that I can get out of this habit, right?
Leave me behind. Hate me today.
That chorus is goated.
Hate me tomorrow. Hate me for all the things I didn't do for you. Hate me in ways, yeah, ways hard to swallow. Hate me so you can finally see what's good for you.
What does it mean when he says hate me in ways that are hard to swallow? Hard to swallow for the hater, or hard to swallow for the hated? Or maybe both. Let me know in the comments.
And with a sad heart, I say bye to you and wave, kicking shadows on the street for every mistake that I had made. And like a baby boy, I never was a man.
That's the scariest part. Kicking shadows on the street for every mistake that I had made, right? Those shadows are the past. You remember that part in this music video where he's like laying down, overdosing, and you know his mom is just like holding up his head and you know just taking on that battle scar of that terrifying moment, right? He lives through that. Like he's walking down the stairs and he's looking and he's reliving that moment. That's kind of what happens when you are so unconscious that the ego is just taking over your entire life. It all becomes a replay of the past or a replay of motivated expectations concerning the future. You're just never really present, right? This song captures a lot.
And like a baby boy, I never was a man. Till I saw your blue eyes cry, and I held your face in my hand. And then I fell down yelling, make it go away. Just make a smile come back and shine, just like it used to be. And she whispered, how can you do this to me? Hate me today. Hate me tomorrow. Hate me for all the things I didn't do for you. hate me in ways, yeah, ways hard to swallow. Hate me so you can finally see what's good for you.
Family, that was one of the dopest songs. Blue October. What's next from Blue October? You know, I think when he's saying hate me, and he's not a recipient of the hate that he wants, clearly, right? It's like from the voicemail, it's like there's somebody who loves him in spite of himself. And love is the felt recognition of our shared being. When someone loves you, they see you as themselves. They see you as an extension of themselves. That's why they have to check on you. That's why they feed you when you're hungry. That's why they have compassion. They treat your suffering as if it's their own suffering, right? So when you're asking someone, hate me, you're asking them to take on a universe which they can't even perceive. Their mode of interpreting reality doesn't consider you separate. That's why that's that love, right? So when you're saying hate me, you're saying treat me as if I'm separate. Treat me as if I'm this ugly thing over here that deserves to be cast aside, right? And you feel like you're a recipient of that because that's how you're treating them, right? What a beautiful song. What's next from Blue October?